Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hispanic Chamber Connection. This is a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This show is broadcast from Lone Star Community Radio in downtown Conroe and can be heard at 104.5 and 106.1 FM or on the internet at irlonestar.com, or you can watch us as a Facebook Live on the Hispanic Chamber's Facebook page. This program is sponsored by the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency, the one you need to know, right here in Conroe. If you need insurance coverage for home, auto, or anything you care about, please give the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency a call at 936-756-1166 or visit her website at www.lupemartinez.com. This program is also sponsored by Image 360, serving Northwest Houston. If you need any kind of signs for your business, please give Angela a call or text at 281-910-0843. My name is Tom Brody, the Found Money Guy. If your business owns a commercial building and you want it to work for you by putting some money back in your pocket, please give me a call at 713-906-3710. Today I'm joined by my co-host for the show, Janice Marino, also known as My Favorite Stylist. How are you today, Janice?
Hello, I'm doing fantastic today. Thank you.
Very good. Tell us what you do and how can people get in touch with you?
I am a hairstylist in Old Town Spring. I cut women's hair, I cut men's hair, I color men's hair, I color women's hair. Whatever you want, I can do for you.
Oh, very good, very
Yes.
good. So our guest today is Keitha Paget. Keitha is the author of a book, Braving Mountains, A Journey to the Other Side of ADHD. Keitha, thank you for being with us today. How are you?
I'm good, doing great. Thank you for having me.
Get the microphone back there. Okay. Real quick, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Is it by text, phone, or email?
Mostly by phone. My number is 281-910-5798. You can also go to my website at keithapaget.com and leave me a message, and I'll get back with you.
Okay, very good. So we'll be talking with Keitha in more detail in a few minutes, but first I want to describe the purpose of this radio program. The Hispanic Chamber Connection is one of the many benefits of membership in our chamber. So if you're a member and haven't appeared on this radio program yet, please send me an email to tom@tombrody.biz, and we'll get you on the calendar. We're currently booked up into November, so that's one of the things that people have really been responding. Our members have been responding and coming on here, and it's helping their businesses, I know. So we also have a radio show in Spanish on Thursdays at 10 o'clock a.m. on station 920. And the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the business chamber of choice, has three goals in mind for its members. Number one, visibility. Number two, business connections. And number three, targeted education. And there's no better way to fulfill all those goals than to have your business featured on one of our radio programs. We also have an email newsletter that informs members and guests about upcoming meetings and events. And to be added to the newsletter list, please send me an email, again, at tom@tombrody.biz. So one thing that's different this week, if you have any questions for Keitha, please post them on our Facebook live stream, which can be found on the Hispanic Chamber's Facebook page. And Janice Marino is going to be manning that, and she'll be sure to get any of your questions out on the air. So by all means, put them out there and let us know what's on your mind. So, Keitha, to start off with you, we're going to talk about your book in detail, but first I want everyone to know a little bit about your background. So how would you describe your life before Cody was born?
Well, I was a young mother, and I already had a son named Kyle, and he was 4 when Cody was born, and he didn't exhibit any of the problems that Cody eventually showed me. So basically, I was a mom who thought, "Oh, this is easy. I got this."
You've already done this, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have any medical training or any medical background before getting into this.
No.
Okay. And this is your first book, correct?
Right.
So
First book.
What was that process like?
Oh, it was incredible. If you've never written a book, you should, just for the therapy it
Really?
brings. Yeah, absolutely. It cleans out a lot of cobwebs.
Okay.
You can write it down, erase, rewrite, erase.
You end up finding things that you hadn't really dealt with. You thought you did. And then when you go back and revisit them, it gives you some time to kind of reset with them
Okay.
and
Very
let them
good.
go, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
closure.
So how do people
Exactly.
get a hold of your book? Where can they find it?
Amazon.com. You just
Okay.
go to Braving Mountains. It'll be the first book that comes up, and you can order it there, or you can give me a message on my website at keithapaget.com, and I can get a book to you.
Okay, very good, very good. So what made you want to get your story out?
Well, it's an interesting story. After he graduated in 2015, I had a lot of time on my hands, and a friend of mine said, "Come try our MLM," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." But what turned out to be a blessing was that the two things that I mentioned in the book, rhodiola and maca, were used in this company's plant-based protein. I was like, "Oh, this is made for me.
Yeah.
I've been putting all this stuff together and it tastes like crap. And this company really had a great shake that was all plant-based. And it had these 2 hormones that I was using. Or actually, those are both things that anybody can use. They're adaptogenic hormones,
Okay.
enhancers, So anyway, long story short, once I started speaking in front of groups for this MLM, mothers would come to me and say, you should write a book. I mean, this is my kid's life. You touched on exactly what I'm dealing with. And I heard that so often that I was out here in the Woodlands at a BNI and I ran into Dr. Carlos. And lo and behold, he said, you should write a book. And I said, hey, let's do it. You know?
Give the
Okay.
people what they want.
Exactly. It was just something that it was the purpose. It was what I needed to do.
Right. Okay. So your book deals with the struggles you had with your son Cody and his early diagnosis of ADHD. So why don't we jump to the end and you give us an update on how he's doing now and what he's doing now.
He's 22.
Okay.
He is an elevator mechanic apprentice. He's been doing that for 4 years, and he's very successful with that. He just signed up for his first marathon in Dallas in December.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he climbs mountains, he skydives, he does everything. He is really an inspiration.
Is that the reason for the title of your book?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
the climb
It
mountains.
is. Yeah, because what he dealt with and what I dealt with as a mother felt like we were climbing a mountain all the time.
Yeah, I
That's
bet.
just the way it feels. And, he's an adventuresome child. And, so he had a lot to do with that.
Super cute.
Okay, very good. So and I know you're still in the early days of getting your book out, but what's been the early reaction to your book, especially from parents?
Well, one of the funniest things that I would have never thought is most people say, I hear your voice when I'm reading, and that's weird.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's a compliment. It really is.
Yeah, they're like, it's like you were talking to me in my head.
Yeah.
But the biggest reaction is like from moms who get to the back, to the appendix. And it gives you some meditation techniques and things on how to relax. And as moms, we don't know how to do that. We
Right.
think we do. If we sit down and watch TV, we think that's relaxing, but it's not.
Right.
So what the feedback I'm getting is, wow, I really didn't know I wasn't doing that. Or hydration. I thought I was drinking enough water.
Yeah.
So from parents, I'm getting a lot of, I felt like I was doing that. But when I really gauged it, I needed help.
Oh, so you're giving it more for the parents' perspective.
Yes,
not-
absolutely.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that could be a misconception when you read it's ADHD. You think it's only about the kid. But what we found in our family was it was the whole family, the whole unit.
Takes a village.
Absolutely. I think I mentioned that in the book.
Well, yeah, and it's not only you're helping Cody get over it, but you're bringing all those changes in diet and just changes in lifestyle to your whole family, and your whole family benefited from that.
It did. And we would not have known the benefit had we not had Cody.
Right.
So there's the blessing in the mix. ADHD is actually a blessing. If you want to look at it that way,
Right.
if you want to see it in that light, you will.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, have you got any reaction from the medical community?
Vicki Mabel, the one who wrote my foreword, is one of my doctors, and she was all for this book. And another one, Dr. Taylor, she also was encouraging when I started to write the book because she knows there's not a lot of information about pandas or
Right.
what is known as pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorders associated with streptococcal infections.
Holy
That is
cow.
a
That is
mouthful.
why
Yeah, I
it's
think-
called pandas.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she said there's got to be a lot more information out there. So yeah, that feedback has been very positive.
Very good. Have you had any negative
No.
feedback from the medical community?
No.
Okay. Because I know in some of the examples in your book, you're kind of talking about how things were misdiagnosed and
Yes.
initially just treated just
Yes.
the way everybody's used to treating it, just throw medicine at it,
Right.
And so I didn't know if you would have some pushback to say, no, this is
No.
the way we're treating.
No, I haven't had any pushback by anyone because I try to make it clear that if I were a doctor and I saw so many cases of the same type of thing every day,
Right.
I would get used to saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And like I said before, this was a fluke that we found out about the streptococcal infections because a doctor just took the time to sit with us and ask strange questions.
And genuinely, it's about your experiences,
Right.
not just about the medical part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the one thing I liked about the book also is that, you kind of broke it up into chapters, but each chapter really was geared toward a specific type of problem, and then you actually address that. And then in the end of that chapter, you kind of listed some symptoms. These are things to look for. And then you talked about how you changed the diet and specifically like meals and things like that, what you were doing before and what you did after.
Right.
And then just kind of show, because it makes it very approachable and something that it's not this huge undertaking that people have to do, that they can actually kind of follow this as kind of a guidebook.
That's right. I wanted to give the reader some early examples because if I had to start over and do all of these things at once, it would be overwhelming to me.
Right.
Because I did one at a time until I saw what effect they had, and then I added another.
Yeah.
So with this, I felt like the menu examples would show, like, in the morning we might have waffles and syrup in our old diet, but in our new diet we might have steel cut oats, something that would stay with you, that would be more protein-based, things like that. And I felt like many parents, if it seems too hard, you're just not going to try it.
Absolutely.
You're not going to do it. So those meal examples were there just to kickstart you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that you had gone through a lot of things and had a lot of issues, but was there one thing that really set you off on your journey of kind of self-discovery that you need to find an answer?
Yes. After about a year of him taking his medication, there was just one morning where he just broke down in tears and cried and said, please don't make me take this anymore.
Wow.
And it wasn't until that minute that I really looked at him. I had been parenting him and guiding him and let's do this, let's do that. But I had never really observed him until that moment. And then when I saw the dark circles under his eyes and, the bones sticking out of his collarbones, he was deteriorating. He was literally physically deteriorating, all for the cause of being better behaved.
Right.
Or getting better grades. And I said, I put the pill in my pocket of my robe and I said, we'll talk about it this evening. And after I put him on the bus that day, I remember coming back into the kitchen and I just melted onto the floor and I just cried and said, God, if you give me something else, I promise I'll do it. I don't care what it is, but I don't know anymore. Right. And as he started to give me signals, which is what, people say, I don't know what to do. If you put it out there, it will show up. And for us, it was magnesium.
Okay.
That was the number one thing, is easiest thing to do for someone with ADHD. They mostly are mineral deficient in magnesium. And that keeps them from sleeping well at night. That keeps them from going to the bathroom daily. And those two things on their own would make you, attention deficit. If you can't go to the bathroom and you don't sleep.
Yeah.
And so then putting the medication on top of these issues he already had, now he's not eating. So he's not eating, he's not sleeping, he's not going to the bathroom. No one can function like that.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was the turning point. And from there, the magnesium was such an inspiration that you got excited. It's like losing weight. When you first start losing weight, you're like, wow, this is
Right.
cool. After that, it was cool. And he was so on board because he felt so much better and he was starting to be happy and laughing and come climb in your lap. And he was just a different personality, all because he had a deficiency that we weren't addressing.
What did you feel like after when you saw that change as a mom? You notice these things and you're like, you know what, I have to make.
Oh, you're
you have to make a
empowered.
change.
You were just so empowered. I remember my mom saying, oh, Keitha, what have you done? Because he's happy. And he just generally was not a happy-go-lucky kid.
Wow.
And it changed who he was forever.
How old was he at this point?
He was about 8.5,
Okay.
9 years old, in that range. And what you ask is, how did I feel? You feel like you've just won the lottery, because it was that
Mom
simple.
win.
Yeah.
Woo. But it also makes you think, okay, if I can do that, what else can I do? And I started taking every supplement that he took because I was never again going to give him something that I wasn't experiencing the side effects from.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
You're doing it together, literally.
Oh, we did every one of the.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it helped both of our lives the same way. I had no idea I was mineral deficient until him.
Wow. Okay. Well, we've been talking with Keitha Patchett, author of Braving Mountains, A Journey to the Other Side of ADHD. And when we come back, Keitha's going to share some advice for parents who think they may have a child with ADHD. Stay with us.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast. Create your first YouTube channel and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
From the beginning, the main purpose of the Cooperative Extension Service has been to change human behavior by teaching people how to apply the results of scientific research. By utilizing a holistic, multi-level approach, Extension family and community health programs encourage health and well-being for everyone. Addressing values, concerns, and needs with reliable science-based information, Extension programs help people lead healthier lives. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? The Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection, a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This program is sponsored by the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency, the one you need to know, right here in Conroe. If it's time to renew your insurance coverages or if you've never shopped for insurance rates, please give the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency a call at 936-756-1166. My name is Tom Brody, the Found Money Guy. If your business owns a commercial building and you want it to work for you by putting a little money back in your pocket, please give me a call at 713-906-3710. We're also joined by another member of the Hispanic Chamber, Janice Marino, also known as My Favorite Stylist. Janice, tell us what you do and how can people find you? Where's your salon located?
I am a hairstylist located in Old Town Spring. I cut, color, and remove hair.
Interesting.
And you can text me at 719-205-4734.
Okay, very good. And if you have questions for Keitha today, please post them to our Facebook Live page, which can be found on the Hispanic Chamber's Facebook page. And Janice will make sure to ask those questions on the air because she's monitoring that for us. So when we left, we asked Keitha if she could actually give some advice for people who think they may have a child with ADHD. How would you advise them to proceed? You know, should they go get their child tested, or they just start following what you were telling them to do in the book? I mean, what's the best way for them to start?
Well, every person's journey is their own. And it kind of depends on how old the child is. If you're preschool, you can pretty much...
Why don't you start again?
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so anyway, everybody has their own journey of when they start seeing ADHD symptoms, or if they do. Some people tell me that they're seeing them in preschoolers, and that's kind of hard to discern.
Yeah.
But when you get to the school usually will tell you. So you got to do something. And at that point, they just gave me a questionnaire. I went to the doctor gave me a questionnaire, and to me, I felt like it was very vague. It was like, do you fight with your brother? Do you,
Yes.
do you get upset when you don't get your way? And I thought, well, this is very vague, but because I was up against the wall, I felt like I had to go ahead and give it a try. So if I were to do it over again, knowing what I know now, I would definitely play around with vitamins, minerals, foods before I did anything else.
Really? Okay.
And I would just observe. One of the things I mentioned in the book is if you put your child to bed at night, head on the pillow, and you come in the next morning and his head's at the foot of the bed, or maybe he's in the living room or something like that, he's not sleeping well.
Right.
He's not sleeping soundly. Even if he's asleep, he's not really asleep and resting. Those are the things I tell them to look for. That and, how their skin looks, how their hair grows. Sometimes you have a child that hair just doesn't grow, and you may be B vitamin deficient.
Oh,
Those
wow.
are easy things to fix, and they're not going to hurt you. So if you fix those and you tweak those, and they still don't give you enough of they don't give enough of an advantage to you, then go to your doctor, then see what you can do after that. But for me, that's what I would do, is I would just observe my child.
Okay, very good. So, in the book, you described several of the revelations you discovered by simply changing your family's diet, right? And I think you talked about the magnesium one. Was there another one that was really a huge change after you tried it?
Yes, probiotics.
Okay.
Probiotics and prebiotics were a huge thing. They come right after the magnesium shift that we made. Your gut is your second brain. And now it's said that that's where depression and stuff comes from, is bad,
Really?
gut flora.
Okay.
When your gut's healthy, the rest of your body's healthy. And so for Cody, someone who did not go to the bathroom regularly, like he'd go maybe a week, 2 weeks.
Wow.
Backed up, and he'd see specialists, and they really couldn't give me any answers. After we started to get a daily bowel movement, well, now what we got to do is we got to go back and fix the gut. We've got to go back and put things in the gut because you need proper stomach acid.
Right.
And then that also falls in line with your B's and C's. They promote healthy stomach acid. So when you put the whole picture together, it's a complete picture. But it was like we were painting by numbers. A little bit of magnesium, a little bit of probiotics, and that kind of thing. And then when it all come together, it was, this beautiful aha.
Was it hard to go back until like kind of remember like how you did, what you did, like the little things, or?
I would think it would be. And sometimes I get a little nervous, like, am I going to remember this? But it all is like riding a bike. I remember everything we went through and what each one of those things did for us.
Right.
And how it changed his personality. Like, for instance, the probiotics kept his stomach from being bloated. He was a skinny kid, but he would have the
Wow.
bloated stomach, like someone who might have been starving
Sure.
in a third world country. That's what he would look like
Oh my
because he
gosh.
had all that gas and stuff.
Poor baby.
Wow. Did he have pains with that? I mean,
Oh,
kind
yes.
of gas? Yeah. I can just
Yeah,
imagine.
because you got to know, if you're holding back bowel for a week,
Yeah.
you're going to stretch all of your intestines, and that creates all kinds of pockets and things like that for infection and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, he had a lot of pain, and so that's why I think he was so happy after the magnesium started.
Absolutely.
You feel lighter. You can smile.
Exactly.
Don't mean to laugh, but I can just imagine
yeah.
it. Now, magnesium, is that something you can get over the counter, or is there
You can, and there's
good magnesium, bad magnesium?
Well, I try to tell people, don't just go to the local Walmart and get like a $3 magnesium.
Right.
The one in the
Research
glass
it.
bottle.
Yeah, research it because there's three different, there's magnesium oxide and magnesium citrate and those type of things. And for us, one works better than the other.
Okay.
But I know other people who have the opposite.
Oh.
So it's something you've got to kind of play with. Magnesium is a cool mineral because if you put too much in your body's going to just have looser bowel.
Okay.
So if you do, you're like, oh, that was too much.
Yeah.
I can, you
Cut back
self-adjust.
next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this puts the trial and error on the parent. And some parents are a little afraid of that. And it's easier just to get the prescription from a doctor and say, we'll just do this and
Yeah.
it'll be okay. But I promise if you trust yourself enough to try it, you won't fail at it because our bodies are resilient. If there's too much magnesium, it gets rid of it. If there's not enough, it backs up and to add some more.
Right. And so for the probiotics, where did you get that from, or what did you use?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, as you get to the end of the book, you realize that my son really dealt with streptococcal infections. A lot of probiotics will have strep in the probiotic.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, and so at the beginning we were like struggling with probiotics because he kind of felt worse. And we didn't know at the time why. We found one probiotic that worked. We used it, no problem. When he got to be 16 and we realized that he had high strep in his bloodstream and in his stomach. And I mentioned that to my doctor that some probiotics make him feel bad. She said, of course, because they have strep. You have to have a certain one that never has strep in it. And that's what we had, and that's what we stuck with. And so there's
Now,
one
can
or
you
two.
see that on the instruction
Yes.
label or something?
It's on the bottle. Will come with strep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because strep's healthy for the human body. That part of that in the normal person's gut's okay.
Right.
But he had too much, so we didn't need to tip the scale.
Gotcha,
But you will
okay.
see it in the very fine print. It's really, really small. All of the ingredients in a probiotic, and there's a ton. So
Yeah.
you just have to be diligent and look.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, the one thing we kind of talked about, and you mentioned being into the chapter, is all the things at the very end in the appendix, where you've got different recipes and things like that. So I like that it's very easy to follow, and especially tools, and then you have meditation, techniques and things to try. How has that been received by people who've read it? Because I thought it was very helpful. I thought,
Yeah.
I wish I'd had this when I had kids, just because it was. I mean,
Right.
You mentioned the whole thing about mowing the lawn and having that be a
Yes.
meditation for you.
It was.
And I found that I was thinking back when I used to do that, and I went, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out there for a couple hours and just be totally shut down,
That's
and
it.
I don't know how I didn't run over my feet because I wasn't thinking about a thing,
You don't.
It's
You're on
just-
autopilot.
Yeah.
You are, and it's meditative, and I love it. And I would mow so much. My husband would say, "Hey, you're killing me on gas here." But that was my release. That's when I
Yeah.
went and meditated. And some people it's fishing, some people it's shopping or just getting away from the house for a little bit. But one of the things that I thought was the biggest lesson I learned was I would always be like so many other parents and say, "I put my kids first." And that's a real yay thing. But if you're teaching them to have kids and put them first, and them first, and them first, and them first, and then no one ever taught that child how to
Take care of
self-care,
themselves,
Right.
how to listen to their body. So if I wasn't listening to how foods were making me feel, and I wasn't taking time to meditate or exercise, all I was showing my kids is that someone else is more important. You put someone else first, and it perpetuates that idea that you never stop to take care of yourself.
Right.
And so for me, that was the biggest lesson, and that's when I started implementing the meditation. And you're right, most people are more impressed by the appendixes of the book.
Yeah, I mean, it's such helpful information in such an easy to understand and easy to digest, I guess, approach. Because it's very straightforward and laid out, and it's helpful. I mean, a lot of people think they know about those things, like you said, about meditation, but don't realize that some of the things that they do every day is a great opportunity to kind of shut everything down and
Yes.
just kind of clear your head.
Right.
Yeah.
And that it's okay to do.
Yes.
Because many of us feel like, well, it's not okay because I really got to, I got to go clean the dishes. I got to go do the clothes. But really, meditation is so helpful. And I'm glad that he learned how to meditate as a younger person
Yeah.
because it's helped him in his adult life.
No, I bet.
That's a big lesson, though. That's
Yes.
a really, really big
See,
lesson.
my opinion is instead of detention, they should teach yoga and meditation. You wouldn't have kids getting in near as much trouble.
There you go.
if
Start
That's a good
reflecting
point.
on how you're behaving.
Well, yeah, and if they didn't like it, they wouldn't get in trouble, so they didn't have to
Yeah.
go back to meditation.
That's going to be the new thing. You're going to meditation.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta-
Exactly.
no.
It'll be a good
Take
or
your little
bad thing.
symbols on.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, with everything you had going on in the family, how did you find out about the Hispanic Chamber?
Well, as I was talking about, I was with the MLM,
Okay.
and I was here in the Woodlands, and I was at a BNI. I was a guest, and Carlos Sanchez was a guest as well.
Okay.
We got to talking there. Next month, I was at a Synergy, and whoa, there he is again. He's everywhere. You
Yeah,
know.
he is.
Yeah, he
He
is.
is. And once I realized what he had to offer and the idea behind his type of chamber,
Right.
I was all in.
Yeah.
I brought my checkbook and I was like, here you go. Here's 2 years membership.
That's great. So, how has being a member of the chamber helped you in your personal
Oh.
development?
It's helped me grow so much, I think, toward my purpose here on
Okay.
earth. I mean, it's more than just helping me with a job or, in a community. This has helped me to grow to be who I need to be. And it's like I was telling you, I flooded in Harvey a couple of years ago, and the chamber stepped up and helped me in just a tremendous way. And just having that love and support like a family,
Right.
you don't get that in a lot of chambers.
Yeah.
You might have a once a month meeting, and that's it.
Right.
Definitely helped you find your purpose.
It did, absolutely. He was put in my way for a reason.
I love those stories. I
Yeah.
love those stories.
That's great. Okay, we've been talking with Keith. We've been talking with Keith the Paget, owner of Braving Mountains. This is the book, if you haven't seen it yet, A Journey to the Other Side of ADHD. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a quote from her book that I found fascinating and very insightful, especially as a parent. Stay with us.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Path to the Plate is a research-based education program that helps consumers understand how their food choices impact their health by making the connection to agriculture, learning about how food is grown and produced, and how consumers can make better food choices for themselves and their families. Path to the Plate is all about dispelling myths and misconceptions. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Hispanic Chamber Connections with Dr. Carlos Sanchez, president of the Woodlands-Conroe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, featuring event announcements, member highlights, and more. Tuesdays at 1 p.m., broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with the Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection, a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This program is sponsored by the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency, the one you need to know, right here in Conroe. If it's time to renew your insurance coverages, please give the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency a call at 936-756-1166. My name is Tom Brody, the Found Money Guy. If your business owns a commercial building and you want it to work for you by putting some money back in your pocket, please give me a call at 713-906-3710. And we're joined by another member of the Hispanic Chamber, Janice Marino, also known as My Favorite Stylist. Janice, how can the people get in touch with you?
They can text me at 719-205-4734. I mean, if you're not a texter, you can call, but text is great.
Okay, very good. So if you have any questions for Keitha Padgett, who's our guest today, please post them on our Facebook Live. And Janice is actually, she got some questions, great. And we will actually cover those. Actually, we can cover those right now. So
Okay,
what kind of questions you got?
I do have a question. It says, my child is not ADHD, but can I try some of the foods and techniques?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She said absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, hands down.
yeah, I mean, the one thing that struck me is just the whole magnesium thing. I mean, I'd never heard that before, but I would think that everybody should be doing
Yes.
that because you're,
Yeah, I used it once before when I was in the Army. It was right before weight tape. So they told me to get a big old, the night before.
before
a big
what?
Old,
The glass
weight and
bottle
tape.
of drink.
Like
Okay.
they weigh and tape you to see if you meet the standards.
Okay.
So the night before, my dad said, drink a whole bottle of this, put it in the fridge so it tastes better. So I downed it. It worked.
And let me tell you,
To drop weight?
To drop
Okay,
weight.
gotcha.
It worked.
Okay.
But like I've heard it before, but I didn't realize it could be used like as a mineral, like something
Right.
that you can take like either daily or something to help keep you regular.
right,
Okay.
right. And that's what I would say. Even if your child's not ADHD, and this is going to sound gross, but I really believe a parent should be on top of the bowel movements. Even if your
Right.
kid's like 6, 7, 8 years old, ask, have you went to the bathroom today? How is it? You know, is
Yeah.
it tough? Is it hard?
Yeah.
You know, those kind of questions. My kid, he just got used to answering them. It didn't even faze him anymore. And all of his friends, as they got to be teenagers, are like, hey, what I say
They start
is,
asking you questions?
yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, they did. He had a good friend who had an ACL tear, and he had to have surgery. And because you're on painkillers, which
Right.
always makes you constipated, and then on top of that, your tissues are trying to heal. That's going to take your magnesium stores. So when you're trying to heal from something like a hard workout or football practice or that kind of thing,
Right.
you want to bump the magnesium that night before or that day before because you're going to need those extra stores. You know, and so
Wow.
usually the gut or the intestines get the magnesium last. Your heart and your brain are always going to get it first to keep you alive.
Right.
So that's why people tend to have less water in their colon and things like that. That was my son's problem. Right.
Wow.
Right. So, yes. So, by all means,
That's
no matter if your child doesn't show any of these symptoms except they may not sleep well at night, magnesium helps you to sleep.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's really insightful. I'm sitting here like, what?
Exactly.
Oh my
exactly.
God.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to the store.
That's right. Like, find that stuff now. So, any other feedback on Facebook Live?
I think they're cooking. You know, the little dots.
Dots.
Oh yeah, they're still thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thinking.
Well, let's talk about the question I kind of teed up before going to break. Toward the end of chapter 7, you talked about the change in Cody after completely coming off the ADHD meds and doing the fish oil and kind of the fish oil supplements. And there was a line that didn't really have anything to do with fish oil per se, but to quote you, you said, "I had come to appreciate the beauty in being happy and average," right? And in the line, I think you were talking about Cody, but what did you mean by that?
Well, as a parent, it's a two-sided coin. You go through the stress of them having all of these ADHD symptoms and low grades and poor behavior and that kind of thing. And each day your kid goes to school and they feel less confident and they're emotionally hurt because they don't like getting in trouble. You don't like to be told a million times, sit down, be still, especially if you don't even know you're doing it.
Right.
Which is a lot of times the case. It's kind of autopilot. So that was one side of the coin. And on the other side of the coin, I was getting what I wanted as he was on medication because he was having straight A's, because he was smart enough to do the work. He was capable. However, the stress that it was putting on his physical body and his health, that wasn't any good either.
Right.
And so what I had to come to as a parent was that there was beauty in his being a C student, being average. You know, his personality started to emerge as he was average.
Okay.
But not when he was medicated and not when he was downtrodden for having bad grades or being the talker in the class or that kind of thing.
Right.
So the middle of the road was where I felt the best on our journey.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's okay. I mean,
It's
that's
perfectly
one of those
okay.
things
He's
that,
healthy. He's happy. He's being himself.
It
Yeah.
is, and he got to show me who he was. See, that was where the guilt fell on me, is I was trying to make my kids who I thought would be best for them as
Right.
they grew. What I was failing to realize is the world that I grew up in doesn't exist anymore.
right.
So they need to be who they're going to be because the world needs them. They don't need another Keitha or another Clint like my husband. They need Cody and Kyle and Caleb. And they're going to inherently have the gifts that God gave them, but they sometimes have to be average
Yeah.
for the parent to sit back and say, oh, you know, you're pretty cool. That's one thing I tell my kids. I like you. And they're like, yeah, okay, Mom, whatever. I said, but no, really, everybody loves their kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like hanging out with y'all. Y'all are fun people. And they're like, oh, okay. But I think as a mom, you would probably get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, you like the
you love
humans
your
you
children,
created.
but-
They're fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
You feel accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that I've always felt, and let's see what you felt about that. Do you feel that parents perhaps push their kids too much to be too active
Sometimes.
in other
Yes.
activities?
Yes, I do believe. I know that for myself, I was guilty of that. As soon as they were born, I started thinking of college and how they needed to get there and what they needed to do. And if it was baseball or pole vaulting, which both kids did, that's what I was doing. I was like, okay, we got practice. We got to go.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly their dream. It was more mine to get a goal accomplished.
Right.
You know, so in that respect, yes, I think they're overbooked. Now, if a kid is doing something because they want to do it, it's art classes, it's ballet, it's whatever, because they cannot go without doing that in that day, then yeah, they should do it,
Right.
but not necessarily to get a scholarship.
Well, and two, I mean, one of the things I found when my kids were growing up is that a lot of the other parents had their kids booked to like 6 different things
Yeah.
every day after school. I mean, one time I was talking to my daughter's friends and I said, do you like piano? And she says, no, I hate it. I said, well, why? Because she was here she was with us for like 20 minutes and she had to go to something else. And I was like, this is your playtime? 20 minutes between, and I asked her about the piano. She says, I hate it.
Yeah.
I said, why are you doing it? My mother wants me to do it. I said, well, tell her you don't like it. Because I'm sure your mother's paying a lot of money.
Right.
And if it's something you don't, because I told my kids, you pick one thing. And we'll do one thing full bore,
Yeah.
but we can't be going 16
Everywhere.
different ways.
Right.
Because I think that causes a lot of stress Well, and the kids too.
The kids and the parents both, they really don't realize how much stress they're putting on themselves as parents, especially if you have multiple kids.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
5 different things at the same time.
And-
You're nuts.
Yeah, and then that kind of leads, you don't have time to eat right.
That's
So
right.
you're catching fast food all the time, and that just keeps going, going, going. Yeah.
Right.
Have you
It's a
ever-
snowball.
There's a movie called The Little Prince on Netflix, and it's pretty much the mom had their daughter's life completely planned out, like from the month to the day to the
Wow.
year and everything. And she said, "I made a friend." She said, "Okay," and she looks around. She was like, If you do all your grades next summer for 20 minutes on a Tuesday, you can hang out with your friend.
You can have a friend.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah,
everything that you're
exactly.
saying, like, not only is applicable,
Yeah.
like, in what we're doing, but, like, it's in the bigger picture, it's more common.
That's right.
It's very common.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
It's
one
our
thing.
culture.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's up to us to break it
yeah,
and to be okay with breaking it.
right. Because those of us that are older didn't grow up that way, right?
Right.
And so you might do one thing, or maybe you didn't do anything. As
That's
far as
true, yeah.
organized activity, and that was okay.
Right.
And it's just one of those things. Like you don't have to be in 6 things.
And you don't have to worry about measuring up to another group of parents.
Right.
That's a big thing with our society is that we think if we're not pushing our kids, then we're slackers. It's okay to be a slacker. It's
Yeah.
perfectly normal.
We're just
You're
hanging
giving
out,
yourself
man.
a break.
Yeah, you want your kid to be happy, not just pushed
Right.
to the
To
extent.
burnout.
Exactly. Yeah, I know, because that was one thing that I could see in my son trying to push him through like football,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he enjoyed it, and then we'd sit down. And he says, "No, I don't really like it," and I said, "Okay, then stop." But
Mm-hmm. Right.
you got to finish the season because you're
Right.
not going to quit on the team. But after that, then we're
Then
done.
you're done.
Yeah. So that's very important.
Did you find something when you were with your son, like learning stuff, how to like read him more?
Oh,
and
yes.
Finding activities that you both can enjoy and both relax
Absolutely.
together.
Absolutely. We to this day will go on trips together and we'll go hiking together and stuff. And we really have a good communicating relationship where we don't have to talk.
Yeah.
It's like I can read him. I can see in his eyes when he's sick. I can tell when he has a fever. As a mom, you know those things anyway.
Yeah.
But you can start to even pick up on small mood changes and things like that. And like, you okay? Yeah. Well, kind of had a hard day.
Yeah. Eventually they'll open up.
Right.
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So over and over through the book, you stress the importance of plant-based vitamins and minerals. Is there a way to readily identify if an item is plant-based versus synthesized in the lab somewhere?
Well, it takes research on your
Okay.
part. But on the back of every bottle on the nutrition label, you will see vitamins A, B, C, K, that kind of thing.
Right.
And off to the side,
Strep.
yes, I'm probiotic, but yes, you will see to the side plant derived from plants.
Okay.
Or like folate, it'll say derived from broccoli. That's what you want.
On the side, but not
yeah,
in
like
the,
under the dot, dot, dot.
Okay.
It'll be like.
So bring your magnifying glass. to the store.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because it's small, or research online before you go to the store, or get with like Juice Plus.
Oh, my
know.
daughter gets those.
Right,
Yeah.
those are good supplements.
Okay.
I believe in food first, but sometimes you got to jump start
Right.
what you're doing to get the best effect. And for that, if you go to say a grocery store and you pick up a name brand vitamin, more than likely it's going to be a chemical based, a synthetic, and it's going to be made to assimilate as closely as possible a plant based vitamin,
Okay.
but it's not going to be exact. And for some people it works, but there's people like my son and myself who we have MTHFR, which is a mutated gene for folate, and 50% of the population has that and doesn't know it.
Wow.
And that leads to things like Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, heart disease, and stuff like that.
Gotta write this
If
stuff
we
down,
were
man.
able to put, cooked spinach and broccoli twice a week into our meals, that would remedy that mutated gene.
Wow.
But not such as, like, for myself, prenatal vitamins were chemical based.
Yeah.
So I was never getting any folic acid.
Okay.
So when I had a miscarriage, I didn't know that it was because I had a mutated gene that wasn't allowing me to churn folic acid into usable folate.
Right.
That would have made all the difference. So in my book, I also start at pregnancy to tell moms, go back to what you were doing when you were pregnant. What were symptoms that you had when the baby was in gestation? And start there and work forward. And usually that gives you a pretty good indication of what the child might be
Yeah,
deficient in.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
makes sense.
Because you're growing them.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
if I don't have folate, then my baby doesn't have,
Yeah.
folate. And then if I start with, formula and stuff like that, that may be chemical folic acid, I'm not helping him. I'm
Yeah.
actually hurting him because that chemical can now not get out of his system. It like circulates and circulates and circulates. So things like that have been a big eye opener for us.
Okay.
So there's more than just strep that runs in the background. There's things like MTHFR, that's the gene. There's even recently there was a young man who he had an extra Y chromosome. And that will cause aggression and ADHD symptoms and things like that. And so these are things that are being treated for this umbrella diagnosis. But there's really there's a
cause for that.
root
Yeah.
to it. But you have to really dig to find it.
Wow.
Oh man, so you would have to take check your hormones and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that you're not going to get from a normal doctor. You have to go pursue
Not
that.
usually.
Yeah.
I was told, Miss Paget, you'll never find it in food. Don't even try. But then we found it in food.
Right.
So, I'm just saying, you can do it. If you want it, whatever you want to do, you will do.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. We've been talking with Keitha Paget, author of Braving Mountains, A Journey to the Other Side of ADHD. And when we come back, we're going to talk to her about what's next for Keitha on her journey. Stay with us.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776.
What can the Better Living for Texans program do for you? You can learn how to increase your consumption of fruits and vegetables, choose foods that are relatively inexpensive and good to eat, make your food dollars last longer, prepare quick, nutritious meals, help your children learn how to eat healthier snacks, and much more. Our program is committed to helping people like you improve your health through providing research-based nutrition education in a friendly, cost-free, and relaxed environment. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Hey, Montgomery County and online listeners. Thank you so very much for checking out Jazzy Vibes with Soul. What? You haven't done so yet? Well, you've got to tune in. Hi, I am the host of Jazzy Vibes with Soul, Miss CeCe Holmes, and I invite you to check us out every Friday and Saturday from 7 until 9 p.m., where you will get the best in old school R&B, and of course, a little smooth jazz to make it jazzy. So tune in. That's right, tune in every Friday and Saturday right here on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM, or worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection, a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This program is sponsored by the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency. So when it's time to review your rates, or if you've never had them, sorry about that. If you've never had them shopped, let me kill this thing. Stop that. You need to call the Lupe Martinez Insurance Agency at 936-756-1166. My name is Tom Brody, the Found Money Guy. And if your business owns a commercial building and you want it to work for you by putting some money back in your pocket, please give me a call at 713-906-3710. And as always, we've got another member of the Hispanic Chamber, Janice Marino, also known as My Favorite Stylist. Tell us, Janice, where is your salon located and how can people get in touch with you?
My salon is located in Old Town Spring,
Whereabouts?
close to 45.
Yeah, on what road?
Spring Cypress.
Okay,
Spring
very
Cypress.
good.
Spring Cypress 45, very accessible by the Valero. And they can text me at 719-205-4734.
All right, very good. So if people have been sending some questions in to Keitha, our guest today, on the Facebook Live page, you can still do that. So send them to us, and Janice is monitoring that, and so she'll be able to ask those questions on air. So when we went to break, we talked about what's next for Keitha on her journey. So again, tell us where people can find your book.
Amazon,
Okay.
Braving Mountains will be the first thing that comes up.
Yep.
And if you can't access us through Amazon, KeithaPaget.com, you can message me and I'll get you a book.
Okay. So now what's next for you now that the book's out? What are you going to be doing?
My second book.
Your second book.
Second book, yeah.
Really? Okay. What's that going to be about?
Maybe
It's
mountains too.
It's actually called "Who Are You" in Act 2, and it's more for it's for everybody, but it's geared toward women around 40, like myself, who, I was a mom, did that kind of thing, and now I'm an author.
Right.
That's what I did.
awesome.
And so the book is going to showcase the changes that we make as we get older. You raise your kid, and that's like your first act. You get that going, and now what do you
Gotcha,
want to do?
Act
This is the
two.
second part of your life.
Yeah.
Second part of your life, and it's time to be reborn. It's time to do whatever it is that you want to do. You've had 40 years to
I
figure
like
out.
that.
Yeah, and I'm started a podcast, and I have a few under my belt now that it's women. A lot of women that say, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was like 40 or 45, and I just jumped into it.
Yeah, like Oprah.
Well, yeah, I had a lady that I was interviewing the other day, and Shelley Barndaller with Show Homes Houston, she's like, I didn't know I wanted to start my own business at my age, but I did, and I love it. I was pushed into it, but it was great. And it's just like the book, it opened my eyes to, we really need a coach for ourselves to say, hey, your life isn't over when your kids are out of school.
Right.
Your life just begins.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
amazing. I'm so excited.
Well,
Like,
good.
I'm
You'll
so
have to
glad
be
you're
on my
here.
show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's all audio, but it's like women talking over lunch. You know how that can get out of control.
Yeah.
And so my husband's like, "Do you kind of find enough to talk about?" I was like, "Have you been with me? Are you sure?" And
Have
he's
you
like,
met me?
Yeah, exactly. We can go 3 hours and never tell you what we talked about. So that's what the program's going to be like.
Okay.
Well, we
awesome.
talked about this and that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So are you able to get out and talk to groups?
Yes, like I said before, I published the book. I had spoke to a few groups of mothers, and what
Yeah.
I would like to do is be able to get with PTAs or PTOs, daycares who might want to put together something for their mothers
Yeah.
and their parents, that I could come in and kind of give some guidance and things like that, just to say, you can do this. This is easy.
Right.
It's not as hard as it might seem.
Yeah. And the one thing I would think that'd be, like you said, preschool is probably too early to be able to identify some of those symptoms. But what age group of kids do you think would be perfect target for?
I think around the 7, 8, 9-year-olds.
Okay.
Even preschool, you can start to see sleep issues there, or going to the bathroom issues. You can see that in that age group.
Right.
But when you start to put a kid in a social and school environment, that's where all of ours kind of accumulated there, and we come to a head. So that's where I would like to talk with people about that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. I hope other people are excited to know that they can take control of their lives and their kids' lives and take it into their own hand. And there's no judgment. There's
Right.
no law. There's nothing that says you can't be the hero
Yeah.
in your kid's life.
Right.
And I'm here to show you that, how to be your kid's hero.
Absolutely. Okay. And when's the second book coming out?
I'm hoping to have it ready by June.
Really? Wow,
Yes,
that's awesome.
I'm hoping to do this one a lot faster than I did Braving Mountains.
Yeah. What was the hardest thing about getting the book out?
Well, being flooded and having to stop and rebuild the
Well,
house.
that's true, yeah. Certain
that
things
put
like
it
that.
to the side for a while. But I think at the very end, I was tripping myself up, because writing a book, it's like giving birth to a baby. You're putting yourself out
Yeah.
there,
Mm-hmm.
and once it's out there, you can't get it. You can't control it anymore. And I think at the end, I was like finding every excuse in the world how not to publish, until
okay.
I finally just said, why am I doing this to myself?
Dr. Carlos come around and we're like, all right.
He's like,
let's
Keitha, come on. And that was something when Carlos in the spring started having health issues, and I was so very worried about him. And I thought, he told me about this a couple of years ago. He told me something will come up and it'll scare the bejesus out of you, and then you'll get busy.
Wow.
And it was true.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I really recommend anyone who thinks they want to do this to get in touch with him and let him mentor you through this process. He makes
Yeah.
it so easy.
Well, very good. Well, I think that's a great way to end the show. So, Keitha, thank you very much for being on. Janice, as always, thank you very much, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
I enjoyed it.